but I wanted to first welcome everyone here. I do want to acknowledge all of our City of Columbia employees. If you're from the City of Columbia, if you could raise your hand. Angelo, Tanya, and Jerry Lynn, Angelo. And I want, Mr. Myers, can I get you to stand up? I don't know if you all know our business license director, but if you're trying to get a business license within the City of Columbia, this is the man you want to see. And I told him he didn't have to say anything tonight. He's really disappointed, but we're going really disappointed. But thank you for being here tonight, Roger. We appreciate it. Before we get into the program, I just wanted to, I'm really excited. You all know we just had our Small Business Week conference, and the National League of Cities, they just produced a report during Small Business Week that came out. I wish we had it for Small Business Week because I really would have used this. But they talked about the importance, of course, of small businesses and how they not only create well-paying jobs, but they also deliver vital goods and services, generate sales and tax revenue, and contribute to the unique character and livability of our neighborhoods. And they talked about how cities, municipalities are in a unique position to really help small businesses. And so this is what I was excited about. They listed 12 quick highlights that cities could do, and we were doing 9 of them here in the City of Columbia. And I was really excited. I'm gonna tell you what they are. But I was really impressed, and you know, a lot of times Angelo talks about it. We don't tell our story well enough, but we were doing 9, and this is a national report. But some of the things that the city does: connect small businesses to information and resources, advocate for small businesses via community-led councils or committees, proactively engage the local business community, provide platforms for networking, create incubator spaces, celebrate successful businesses, help small businesses build a web presence. We've done maybe 15 of those this year. Support micro-lending and crowdfunding. We have a loan program. And finally, encourage local small businesses to bid for city contracts. And we led an initiative with that with the chamber last week. So I'm really proud, and I'm proud of our staff. We're really, really working. We're trying to hit all of these marks, and so next year I figure we got to have all 12. So that's what we're going to be working on. So I'm really proud of the City of Columbia and the efforts that we're making. At this time, I would like to bring up Mr. Frank Knapp. We're going to switch a couple of things around to bring comments. He's one of our great partners with the Small Business Chamber.
Thank you, Tina. Very good. And I am not going to make this squeal. That's good. I'm Frank Knapp. I'm President and CEO of the South Carolina Small Business Chamber of Commerce, and thank you. Thank you for what you're doing. This is what we need. We're entrepreneurs just like you, because this is what makes the economy go. And so congratulations. I'm glad you went through these courses. I hope they've helped you and that you're ready to go and launch. And it's just, it's just something that if you got it in your blood and you're willing to work and you're willing to do a little sacrifice, this is the way you accumulate wealth. This is how you do it. If you work for somebody else your entire life, it's hard to accumulate wealth. If you own your own business, there's much more opportunity to make money. So you're doing the right thing, but it's not for everybody, so congratulations to you. All right, so we talked about a little bit about money. You're starting a business, so you're in a business, you want to grow. I'm just here to say a couple of things. Go to your local banks, ask for a loan, see what they say. If that doesn't work, it doesn't mean that your business isn't a good idea. Might mean that they simply say, you're a small business, you don't got a lot of resources, and you're more of a risk than my auditors will allow me to have. So it doesn't mean that you won't be successful. It just means that they can't put you on paper, and that because you don't have the equity in house or something else. Okay, so it doesn't mean that you aren't worthy. So you got to look other places. One of the things that we have done at the South Carolina Small Business Chamber is try to address the area of crowdfunding, and some of you may have heard that. We have developed 2 portals for that. One's a donation crowdfunding portal, which is more like a Kickstarter model, for those of you who know what Kickstarter is. And I got some cards here I'll pass out. And basically all that is this. If you have a great idea and you think it'll turn people on to say, I want to be a part of that. I want to be a part of helping them be successful. Okay? Might be Ruthie Bees. If you feel that you can sell what you're going to do as something that's interesting and a little bit different maybe, and you just need some of your friends and relatives and all their social media people to help, you might want to give our donation crowdfunding site a chance to do that. The other thing we're working on is a investment portal, and that is not quite ready to crank up yet because we're trying to get the registered investors on it first before we do that. But and there are some nonprofits in here. Okay, all right. Our donation crowdfunding portal is for nonprofits also. I've always supported nonprofits thinking outside the box and looking for an opportunity for them to have a business model where they can be doing something to generate revenue so that they don't always have to be asking for people to give them money. So there are some effective foundations, or excuse me, of nonprofits that have done that effectively. So keep that in mind. Do you want me?
No, you can.
Oh, I thought you wanted me to do something.
No.
You're going to. Anyways, so that's it. I'm not going to take too much of your time. I'm going to pass out these cards. If you have any questions about our crowdfunding.com, it's scrowdfund.com, please ask, and I'll be glad to answer any of your questions. But again, thank you. Thanks to the city for putting this on and doing this. This is very valuable, and this is how we grow our economy from the bottom up. And that's really what a sustainable economy is all about. It's about people like you out there working and generating business and feeding that economy from the bottom up. So congratulations to you. I'll pass out these cards, and thank you so much.
Thank you, Frank.
And now I'm gonna, am I the MC, Angela? Let me know. I can do it. Next, we do want to bring up Lee Cato with the Chamber. Before we do that, I did want to make sure all the graduates that are here, I'm supposed to be doing introductions. Raise your hand or stand up if you're a graduate. Thank y'all so much. And family members who are coming to support their graduates. You know, we always got to give a hand to all the family members who put up with us. And I like that Frank said this is not for everyone, because I don't know, but Michelle will tell you, I have started this class three. Yeah, and Angelo still refuses to give me a certificate. So y'all have really done a great job, and y'all are really dedicated. Come on up.
Thank you, Tina, and good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. It's so good to see all of you here today. And again, I'm supposed to be welcoming you to the Greater Columbia Chamber of Commerce. They refer to me around here as Rerun. I was here about 25 years ago, and I left to have a full career in state government, and once I retired, they asked me to come back. And this was a special outreach effort on the part of the Chamber to reach out to small, minority, and women-owned businesses. And we've been doing this for 3 years. Tina and I joined together 3 years ago, and believe it or not, we're still together. That's longer than some marriages stay together. But at any rate, you heard a lot about the Chamber and what the Chamber has been about. And our former CEO, our late Ike McLeese, was here for 19 long years, and he untimely passed away in October of last year. And the board had the awesome task of trying to, I'm getting a little bit tight here because he and I were really good friends, but they had the awesome task of finding a replacement for Ike McLeese, and they did a darn good job. And Tina has me listed here to bring comments, but I have been usurped by my boss. Now, what he's doing is paying me back, because when Tina had her, what was it, the Small Business Week luncheon during National Small Business Week, when we got to get our name tags, mine said Lee Cato, Chamber of Commerce, and my boss says, Carl Blackstone, guest of Lee Cato. He said, he said, you're not going to hear the last of this one. But at any rate, I'm pleased to bring Carl before you. He's going to bring comments. Carl has a background in state government. He's also a former lobbyist, and he's no stranger to small business, and that's a part of his he wants that to be a part of his legacy now in rebuilding the Chamber. And again, Carl Blackstone.
Thank you, Rerun. It is a treat to be here today. Thank y'all for being here. Congratulations on the graduates. It's an excellent accomplishment for y'all. listen, here at the Chamber, we're excited to be working hand in hand with small businesses. We have said this, Tina and I have said this for a long time, that small businesses are the backbone of this community. We have 14,000 small businesses just in this community alone. And 50% of the jobs are all created in small businesses. So what y'all are doing is vitally important. You're taking risks, which is the backbone of our country. 1, 2, you're providing jobs, and you're hopefully in the next couple of years you're going to be providing lots of folks with incomes to provide food for their family's table. So we know what you're doing is hard. We know that what you're going through is not easy with the regulations and all the things, the challenges that you face on an everyday. Heck, I'm learning Twitter now. I mean, I've never had to deal with Twitter before, but stepping outside your comfort zone and learning some things that you wouldn't have done 6 months ago or a year ago. But we're here to help, and anything that we can do to help you in your business, because if you succeed, the community succeeds, and that's important to us. So again, we'd love to partner with y'all in any way that we can, and feel free to use Lee Rerun as a resource, myself as a resource, and again, congratulations, and thank y'all very much for being here, and glad to have the General here as well. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Carl. I'll just like to take about 2 minutes to talk a little bit about, you've heard a lot about the Chamber of Commerce is not concerned about small businesses, and concerned even less about black people in general and young black people in specific. Let me just say that 25 years ago when I was here, the Chamber was not afraid of taking positions and making decisions that affect the entire community. You probably did not know that it was the Chamber of Commerce that led to the passage of the 421 plan that now have blacks on city council. I know because that was my project. We worked together on that. We went all the way to the Fourth Circuit Court of Appeals to get that passed and approved. That started right here in this room, the Greater Columbia Chamber of Commerce. Who benefited? Small businesses. And we as black folk particularly benefited, because when you look at the makeup of city council now, that just didn't happen automatically. That took a lot of sweating, meeting at night and fussing and, well, not cursing, but it was tough going there for a while. But it took 3 years to get that passed. The Chamber of Commerce did that. Many of you, I know some of you because I've seen you up there, many members of the private clubs. It was the Chamber of Commerce that brought that about. It says, okay, business community, it's time for this to happen. And that happened back in 1989. Also here recently, the passage of the Penny Richland County. Guess what? The Chamber of Commerce, that was Chamber of Commerce leadership in that, and that's going to put millions and millions of dollars in the pockets of small and minority businesses. The Bull Street, working with Tina and her group, and there again, I served with Tina on the Mayor's Advisory Council to make sure that minorities and small business owners get a piece of the action. So when you talk about what the Chamber does for us, it does the same thing for us as it does for larger corporations. The difference is, in the aggregate, you run the community, because as Carl says, it's, in this Midlands community, you're talking about 14,500 small business owners. Some as small as 1 person, and some as large as 49. Those are considered small businesses. So again, we welcome you here. This room is available for you for meetings for after hours if you like. We are not pushing necessarily membership. We would love to have you as members of the Chamber, but we are pushing a service to the community, because we believe that if you come around us long enough, you will see value in what we do. So again, welcome to you and congratulations to all of you. Thank you.
Well, I sent an email out to you all. I think the title of that email was, Thank God I Made It. Yeah, so thank God we're here today. I have the pleasure to introduce the keynote speaker tonight, a gentleman that I met years ago, and I thought it was fitting that he be the one that bring the message tonight. His name is Calvin H. Elam, C-L-U-C-H-F-C. Now, when you got acronyms behind your name like that, that means you are important. All right, so he's a native of South Carolina. He began his career as a wealth management and insurance industries in 1992 after spending 5 years as a successful commercial and retail lender with Bank of America, formerly Nation Bank. He's a graduate of the University of South Carolina, Darla Moore School of Business here in Columbia, where he earned a Bachelor of Science degree in marketing. Calvin is a registered principal with LPL Financials and holds security registration 76324 with LP Financials. I don't know what the numbers mean, but I know they mean something very important. He's currently registered to provide investment services in South Carolina, North Carolina, Georgia, Texas, Maryland, Mississippi, and Massachusetts. So he's all over the place here. So that tells you that his experience and his expertise is warranted in all these states. Calvin is also a retired Brigadier General with active duty and National Guard service, a total of over 33.5 years. And all the time I've known you, Mr. Elam, I didn't know that part. But congratulations. He was the first African-American Brigadier General in the history of South Carolina National Guard. And I think that deserves a handshake right there. Mr. Elam truly believes that his community service is the price that you pay to live in a community. He does believe in giving back. He sits and serves on many boards, as you can see in your handouts there. I won't go through all of them, but that tells me there's a very accomplishment and people who want to have him on the board. And I think just recently a friend of mine, Glenn Brown, was trying to recruit him on his board. So that tells me that he's highly sought after. But here's just something I want to leave you with. In 2000, he was selected by the state newspaper in Columbia, South Carolina, as a future business leader. After all these years in business, obviously he has done what he sought out to do and became the successful as he is today. So I want you to give him a round of applause as he comes in his own ways to greet you all today. Thank you.
Good evening, and thanks, Angelo, for that kind introduction. You know, they make you give them something to say. You know, for me, it's just thankful that the Lord, you know, kind of allowed me to get in the position I am in today. So first, let me congratulate all of you for what you've accomplished here over the last however long it's been. I'm sure it's been a pretty tough journey, and it's not easy. And I want to thank also the Chamber of Commerce. You know, I've started with Chamber of Commerce a long time ago when they started the first Minority Business Development Council. It's back in the early 90s, and spent a lot of time around the Chamber, building good relationships, taking advantage of what they have to offer, and I would suggest you all do the same. Just get a little bit of background on my business and tell you a little bit about what we've done over the last few years, and just talk a little bit about what I think is important to be successful and sustainable long-term in business. And I don't think there's any real secrets to it, but just want to kind of share that, and then we'll kind of let you guys get on with your evening. And I started banking, I mean, this business, like you said, in '92 after leaving banking. You know, banking had its own issues back in the early 90s. There were mergers and consolidation, we call it today. And I looked up one day, and instead of, you know, being here on the totem pole, I was down here, and I could not see where my next promotion was coming from. So I decided to look out into the marketplace and see if there was anything I thought I could do, you know, where I thought I could add value, do something different, be independent, and hopefully create independence for my family. And I looked in the field of financial planning and started back in '92 with the firm. And after that, I really started to get a feel for, you know, what was important from a business perspective. So, you know, I want to go over a few things that I do on a daily basis from a business perspective that I think are important. You know, in being in business, first of all, you have to have to stay long term. You have to have a vision. You know, and my vision, I'll just give you an example, and I have it in my wall in my office, is to be one of the leading wealth management and financial planning firms in the state. It's just that simple. And then my mission, you know, why I get up every day and come to work, basically says to be remembered by our clients for having a positive impact on their lives. So when we get up every day, come to work, our whole focus is around making sure that we're remembered by our clients for having a positive impact on their lives. And when you go into business, like most of you already are, you're doing it, we all know that you have to offer a service that is relevant. Because if you're not relevant, you're not around. I mean, it's just that simple. If you don't believe me, ask Polaroid. Anybody here had a one-step camera? You know, they don't exist anymore, and you can go, and the list goes on. And so you have to always be refining your process, refining what it is you want to do, what it is you want to accomplish, and what it is you want to make sure your clients are experiencing. Because, you know, you're in business for yourself, but it's all about the client experience. So if the client's not having the experience that they thought they would have when they signed up for it, I don't care whether it's doing yard work, baking a cake, whatever it is, then you're not going to be in business long. At least you won't be successful. So I always tell folks who come and ask me about business, you know, not to be excited, just to be in business. You know, a lot of folks in business are not making any money. You know, the goal is to make money. Young folks are to get paid. You know, and so you go in business to make money, not just to be in business. And I think people sometimes get that confused because business is hard work. And I can tell you the competition out there is keen. I don't care what your career field is. If you're an attorney, you can open up the yellow pages, you can see hundreds. You can drive down the street. If you're a financial guy, I got to compete with the Merrill Lynch's, the Morgan Stanleys. If you're doing landscaping, don't matter. Everybody out there trying to do the same thing, trying to prove where they're different. And I can tell you, if you can't ever come up with any ways to separate yourself from the pack, you know, you'll be in business, but you won't excel. And you know, we've been fortunate over the years to continue understanding this refining process. We look out at the landscape, we view our competition all the time. We know who our top competitors are. Mine are the folks with brick and mortar that I got to compete against because I got a little small business that I run. It's a home that we refurbished and that sort of thing. But it's not like walking in Bank of America. So what's going to separate me from what the folks tell you when you go in Bank of America to compete versus what I'll tell you when I come to my office? And we have to figure that out. And we're always figuring that out. And this is year 22 for us hanging our own shingle. And I think we've been very fortunate in making sure that we understand one thing. And that one thing is client service. If you're not producing at a high level from a client service perspective, I don't care who you are, you won't be in business long. People want to be treated the way they expect to be treated. So if you treat them any way different from what they had expected when they walked in your office or when they gave you the opportunity for that contract, then it kind of diminishes the value that they think you bring to the table. And so when we take a look at a couple things in terms of remaining relevant in today's market, I think there's two things you have to do, and that's make sure that your service, like I said again, is high level, because your product probably won't be unique unless you're doing something technology-wise that's new, cutting edge. Most of what we do, I'm not sure what all of you do here, I'm sure it's something that offers a lot of value, but most of what we do, the guy next door is doing it. So what's so different about you? And that's what you have to figure out. And once you figure that out, that's what you spend time refining. And there are folks out there, if you're honest with yourself, just like when you play sports, and I use that analogy, you play sports, you always knew who the competition was. You always knew who the guy who was just a little bit better than you were. You wouldn't admit it, but you knew it. But you always knew this guy. And from a distance, you kind of watched him or her. And that's the same thing you have to do with business. You know who your competition. My competition is the big boys. So I can't do everything they do, but trust me, I take some pages out of their book and I tweak it. And you walk in my door, it's very little distinction between, from a service level, of what I do and what they do. And so you have to figure that out. If you don't, like I said, you'll be around, but you won't make any money. And the next thing I think is important over the course of time is, you're young. Some people are young in terms of business. Young business. As your business matures, you have to figure out the thing that we call business succession planning, or your exit strategy. You can decide one or two things. Either you're going to work the same way you're working until you're 70 years old, or, because some people will tell me, I got my business, I'm going to work the business until I can't work anymore. That don't sound like fun to me. Unless your business is just, you've got it made and things are working so well, you're working because you have to. You want to work, not because you have to work. Some people work small businesses just like they worked them, 20 years ago. Their income level is still the same. They're working at that pace because they have to. That's no fun. And if you don't create an exit strategy or don't create what we call a model, I think it's important for, in today's environment particularly, for small business owners to go in business. Like I said, one, knowing who your competitors are, because your competitor might be the person that you get to buy you out. So you got to create your model so that your model allows you to have brand value. And once you do that, then you're always in the eye of your competitor. Just like the guys know me at Merrill and call me, hey guy, why don't you come and join our team? Now, I would like to, if you guys do business a little bit different than the way I do. I get calls all the time. But I got my model. And everybody has to have their model. Because at some point in time, if your model's structured the right way, you may get a knock on your door and somebody make you an offer you can't refuse. But if all you're doing is just working, and there's no model to what you're doing, that somebody can say, hey, tell you what, just think about the other day. Who got paid? Dr. Dre. Dr. Dre did beats. Nobody would touch Dr. Dre and the guys with the beats. They figured it out. They did those commercials. And Dr. Dre said, tell you what, we got this model here. We're going to create our own deal. And we're going to partner with somebody. Apple says, we better not let that happen. Because if Dre starts streaming music, folks aren't coming back to Apple, or they may, but we're going to lose some market share. So what do? They go out and say, tell you what, Dre, we give you $2 billion for that. And I don't think most of us will get there, but you never know. But all I want to say is you have to make sure that you're creating something that's scalable and something that has value to somebody other than yourself. Because once people see it, at some point, they may want to merge and create the largest janitorial service, the largest construction service. But you have to know who your competitors are, and you have to network, which I know they talk about a lot of that. You got to be around people sometimes that are your competitors. Trust me. If you're competing at a high level, they know you. And if your business model is right there, framed up where it needs to be, at some point, when you said, I think I want to walk away from this business. And, excuse me, and you make that decision, then you can go to someone and sit down and have a pretty open and frank discussion about what you bring to the table, the goodwill, the revenue streams, the client base, the whole deal. Now, at some point, you really have to figure that out, because if you don't, when you get to the end of the day, you have nothing. I've been in the financial planning business now for, it's over 25 years, but on my own 23. You can create a lot of wealth as a small business person if you're doing it the right way. But unfortunately, most small business people that I'm around, they're not creating. They're not creating. They're not putting enough money away for themselves. It's all going back into the business. But at some point, you've got to learn to make sure that you're putting money away for yourself, because you won't be there. I mean, you won't have the same energy. I don't have the same energy that I had when I was 30 that I do today at 52. I still got a lot of energy, Lee. But there are some things I just don't want to do. You follow me? And so you structure it so that at some point you don't have to do it as hard, because you have people that believe in you. They become loyal customers, and they come back to you again and again and again and again, or they stay with you and they never leave. And so you're able to create a lifestyle for yourself. But you have to figure out, one, why you're in business, and the other part of this is, as you get to the latter part, we're probably startup and early stage. Some businesses probably mature, but you're just going through the program. You still have to figure out, like I said, part two of the exit strategy is whether or not there's somebody in your practice or in your business that you can bring in as a partner or give some equity to, that is younger than you are, that can keep the business going. Sadly enough, and I'll say this even about my own practice, and we manage about $50 million, which is that's decent, but in the world I live in, I need to be, you can make a good living at $50 million, but you really need to be at about 100. So on my board, if you walk in my office, I don't know how much time I got, Angela, but I'm about to finish. So if you walk into my office, in my office I got a whiteboard up there. We call it a whiteboard. That's what we did in the military. We whiteboarded everything. So you put a whiteboard up there. Here's our missions. Here's when we're leaving. Here's logistics. So, in my office I have a whiteboard. Whiteboard says 2018, 100 million. So when I come to work every day, every month, whatever, and I'm looking at my numbers, I kind of know where I want to be. Now, will I get there? I'm not sure. But it won't be because I didn't have it on the radar screen. I'm just not going to work every day just to be going to work. I'm going to work trying to get, I guess in church circles, they're trying to make 100. Yeah, I'm trying to make 100. Yeah, 99 I won't do. I'm trying to make 100. So I'm trying to make 100, right? So I'm trying to make 100. And so I look on that board every day, and I've got it layered. Okay, I want to be here 2015, 14. So I've got like 4 years right now to get it. Now, some of this will come from me just not losing clients and being smart and savvy enough to try to grow their asset base. The other part comes from bringing on new clients. So I bring on new clients, I get to my number, I'm good. And so if the guys were calling me at 50, think how many of them be calling me at 100. I mean, I see the deals happen every day. Practices merge, 50, 60 million. They go in with a firm that's, got 500 million and all the stuff. But you got to be willing to give up control and all that. I'm not, I like what I do right now, so I'm not at that point. But at some point, you have to know, and you make a decision whether or not you want to do this all of your life. Some people say they want to do that all their life. And then sometimes you have to figure out whether or not I'm building it to get to the next level. And the next level may mean that you're merging with someone. You're getting paid out. You're going to hang around, but you're merging with someone to do your thing. So in the end, I would, again, just say, in summary, make sure you have a mission, you have a vision statement. Understand that competition's out here, that people are not going to shrink. And if you can't deal with it, then you have to make sure you have to check yourself and ask the question whether or not being in business is for me. Because some people, it's just not. You're in business, just to mess around and pass out a business card, and you're not looking to get paid or to be profitable. That's no fun. You won't survive. So, do those things. Always remain relevant. going to courses like this. You know, whatever your career field is, if there's some other certifications or degrees or whatever it is it takes to make you just as competitive as the next guy, because you know who it is. Like I said, you always knew who the best player on a basketball team was, or a football team, or on the other team. You always know it. You always know it. Golfer. You know who's a good golfer, Dr. Glenn. We always know. You always know.
That's not me.
Yeah, but you always know. But you know who it is. And so you got to understand these things and frame them. And once you do that, I think you're on your way to run a successful business. But you got to think about the front end, and you also have to think about the back end. And don't just think about the fact that I'm in business, but the fact that I'm in business to make money. And if you do that, I think all of you will be successful. Thank you very much.
You probably thought you were probably still in class, so I got a test for you. No. But successful, sustainable, and relevant businesses is what I'm hearing, what Mr. Dionne was talking about, because that is a very competitive world out there. And I heard the baby crying earlier. I think that was my call to say, look, it's time to get those certificates out. So I need my director, Tina Herbert, to come forward, and our professor, Professor Dugard. I call you Professor? I'm sorry.
Well, I thought you hesitated. All these weeks you
Well, I really wanted you to say something too, as Tina come up and give you time to talk about the class and some few words there as well.
Can I?
Yes.
I appreciate that. When I got Angela McBride's email, I was thinking, surely this is not about our next level class. Do you all remember the header that he sent out, what it said? Thank God I made it. Like, surely that's not our class. I think it was a typo. It probably was what he was thinking was, thank God I got it, in terms of, my hope is that this class was an opportunity for you where you got something out of it of value, inspiration, as well as instruction to help you move forward so that you could take advantage of the opportunities. And I think as entrepreneurs, you're going to have opportunities to come to you. In some cases, you're going to have to make opportunities. Sometimes you're going to have to chase them down. Sometimes you may find yourself at the right place and time in which you had that opportunity presented on a platter. But what you do with it next is really up to you. So my role was to help give you the tools and frameworks and, again, mindset, so that when you see these opportunities, whether you make them, you're equipped to make it into the success that I know that you have within you. So without further ado, we'll start with the certificates.
So the first students come up will be Dionne Dunlap, if she's here. And I hope I pronounced this business correctly. Arsena's Sweets, LLC. And I'm enjoying this too, I'm gonna tell you, because I've tasted her sweets before. Could you go in the middle right here for me, please? And you'll take that and pass it on, and Justin, you'll get a shot, right?
Are we positioned properly?
And after this is over, you'll be able to go to the back, Mr. Dionne. I hope you're here for this, because she has her display in the back. And I really would hope that we sample the food for her as well as Ruthie B's and Franny's Baked by Franny. Well, I tell you, I looked in the mirror, I saw this was getting old, and I looked up, I got gray up here too. Well, that's bad. Okay. You got it, Justin? All right, thank you. Franco Shaw. I know there's a Franco Shaw here. Yes. Shaw Power Clean. So if you want it clean, he's a man that can do it for you. Congratulations, Mr. Shaw. Next is Corliss Eubanks. Corliss Eubanks. How you doing? Good. And you brought family with you today.
I did.
Where's family? Could you raise your hand? There it is. All right. Thank you, Ms. Eubanks.
You said the name of my business.
I'm sorry. Thank you. Again, charge it to my head, not my heart on that one. Corliss Eubanks, she owns All About Teeth Portable Dental Hygiene LLC. Jessica Singletary, Awakening Destiny. Can't fail twice in a row. All right. Thank you. The next is Millicent D. Hudson and Hudson Incorporated. Where's Mr. Hudson? He was here too, right? There he is. Let's make sure you get this picture right. You ready? Got it. Okay, thank you. Oh.
Is that the dog? Okay. In the back.
Thank you. Ruth Brockman, Ruthie B's Homemade Recipes. And Ruthie B's also has her display in the back. Hers is on the right. And I think these guys have some cards they want you to fill out to make sure when you taste the food, you rate them. So we all want to see 5s, right?
That's correct.
In the military, we used to say, got it. Okay. Okay, I don't see Margaret Brown. Oh, yes. Here's the retired colonel, retired general, Lawanda J. Holliman. Lawanda, she owns the name of her business, Everything Adequate and You. Monica Butler. So I think, Monica, you're probably talking about me. It says Golden Moments Senior Service and Transportation.
Yeah, one of those.
So I'm her first customer.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Twila Jones, West of Vintage. Thank you. Marques Wright, Circuit Surfers Electrical. It looks sharp, doesn't it? Well, I tell you. And this young lady, I had the pleasure of meeting last year sometime, and when I met her, she wanted to come by just to see me at the office, but I think I probably spent 8 hours with her. So we really became good friends. So Krista Bailey, Palmetto Development.
Matching.
Yeah. Well, I really hope I don't miss anybody. I tell you, that'd be a disaster for me, wouldn't it? Yes. The last one I have here is Jeffery Watkins, Humble Beyond Business. now I really appreciate everyone who gone through this this course. I invited some people tonight to help with the networking, the social piece of this. But again, it's been, what, 10, 12 weeks? I lost count. But it's been quite rewarding. So this really comes down to the end of the program, and I want you all to take part and give Baked by Franny's an opportunity to stand up and go behind her display in the back, and Ruthie B's to go behind her display in the back, and our senior suite to go behind your display. And I'm doing that for a reason, because I want you to understand that these young ladies are the one that's actually carried the meal tonight, and that the product that they're putting on the market. And I want you to take time out to indulge in there, and also time to network, and to make sure the business license guy gets your business card, okay? An awesome jewel, and we really appreciate him for the service he's doing for the city as well.
And I just want to say this, I'll make sure to really thank Angelo McBride, who makes sure this class goes on every time and sets up and breaks down and keeps Michelle on track and keeps me on track. So we really appreciate you and all your hard